Saratoga Racecourse in Saratoga Springs, New York. Serious crowd expected. Among the biggest days every summer, Alabama Saturday. 2 years ago, Brad Cox saddled the Travers winner, the Dolphins' Essential Quality, but he's never won this race. In hours, he'll unleash the favorite, Wet Paint, also owned by Godolphin, Grade 1 Coaching Club, American Oaks winner. And then there's trainer Todd Pletcher seeking a third straight Alabama and fifth overall. So many intriguing Alabama storylines. This is Saratoga Live, as always, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Among the oldest active sporting venues in North America, Saratoga, this venue, this crowd already humming. Many arrived at dawn to reserve a good spot. Well worth it as the countdown continues to the 143rd Alabama. Trackside, welcome everyone. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. This is one of those days you circle on the calendar as soon as the schedule comes out. Alabama Day. Why? Because this race produces champions. 27 fillies have won this Alabama and been crowned three-year-old filly champion. So how good are the fillies running today? That's what everyone is waiting to find out. Let's take a look at the field of the Grade 1 Alabama mile and a quarter, $600,000 purse. 10 deep with the favorite, number 2, Wet Paint. 2-1 on the morning line, the Alabama, presented by Keeneland Sales. So welcome in my co-host, Sarah El Badwi, champion jockey Richie Migliori, and a lot of B's this afternoon. That'll be part of the narrative. What are we looking forward to most today with this terrific day of thoroughbred racing? Sarah, the Alabama, what are you looking forward to most?
Well, of course, this is kind of that divisional tie-up for those three-year-old fillies, and we'll see the males go to do the same in the Travers coming up next weekend. But this is their version of that same kind of hyped-up race. It's a good matchup. It's a full field, and it'll be a determining factor whether or not Wet Paint ends up truly stamping herself as the division leader.
Richie?
Yeah, Wet Paint's poised to kind of take control of this division with a win today. Pretty mischievous. Her stablemate is probably the leader right now. I'm looking for a little bit of a wild card in Julia Shining. I know it's a tall ass. She hasn't run since the Ashland, but she's already a Grade 1 place horse. She's a Grade 2 winner, and with her pedigree being a sister to Malathat, and I just think a mile and a quarter is going to suit her. I've watched her train up here. I think she's kind of taken a step from a maturity standpoint. I like her a lot today.
It's such a great part of the story of big sister Malathat winning a couple of years ago. Little sister today. We'll see what she can do off the bench at a mile and a quarter. This was the Coaching Club American Oaks 4 weeks ago. Top 3 are back, Sarah. Sacred Wish in front, but Wet Paint is relentless.
She is, and this is a really good example of how they did not take her out of her closing running style. It didn't matter that there was a horse that was enjoying some of those easier fractions up front. She was still able to close from the back of the pack and run her down in the very late stages of this race. And while it may be a concern that she hasn't run a particularly fast number compared to years past, three-year-old fillies at this level, she does seem to find her way to the winner's circle.
Richie, Wet Paint, yeah, the speed figure hawks say she's vulnerable. What say you?
Well, I don't really worry too much about her speed figures, if you will, because she, like Sarah said, she finds a way to do it. She can only run as fast as the horses around her make her run, and her closing style are going to lend itself maybe to slower figures because she's got to close into a slower pace. But much like her sire, Blame, who stands at Claiborne Farm, his coming out was the Whitney when he beat Quality Road. I thought the Coaching Club was kind of Wet Paint's coming out party.
Grade 1 Alabama, race 9, post time 5:45 Eastern. Today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farm. TV schedule, first 4 races right here, FS2. Then coverage moves to Fox, 3 Eastern. That's where you'll see both stakes, Alabama, Lake Placid. Finally back on FS2 for the late double. John Deere Weather Track Condition Report. Main track is fast. Turf courses are good. 2, 6, and 11 off the turf on the main track. Very comfortable high 70s here in upstate New York. Alabama today, Travers next week. Get signed up if you haven't. When you do so, use that promo code SPA200 and earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now at NaraBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. And the first race today, Well, it is the Spendthrift 2-year-old race of the day, brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, home of North America's 4-time reigning champion General Sire, Into Mischief. There's the field. The boys, the 2-year-olds, maiden special weight, several first-time starters, lots of potential. Start of the early, pick 5 and Risk It, the current favorite at 2-1. Richie, right on cue there. He is the expensive gun runner first-time starter.
Yeah, Gun Runner has just been a terrific young sire. Looks quite a bit like his sire here. The money is meaningful, means he's been tipping his hand about his ability in his morning trials.
Same color as the Canoe, at least for a week. Winchell Thoroughbreds. Remember the name, Big Dom Racing debut in Colt.
We'll see if he can live up to his name. He had a sharp work at that OBS sale, working in 10 flat, but the dam's all turf.
Hunt Ball, his half-brother, none other than Cody's Wish.
Yeah, Cody's Wish as well as endorsed. The mare's a producer. This guy can run. I've watched him train. Could be a little naughty. Let's keep an eye on him on the way to the gate.
Middle market, Seth Clarmonone, first-time starter.
There's no real damn side pedigree for this one. They paid a good amount for this McLean's Music.
World's Fair, blinkers on for the second start.
Yeah, had a little trouble at the break last time. Didn't show a lot of run, but adds blinkers and actually took a bit of money first time, like he had shown something in his morning trials.
Act of Mutiny, we'll get back to him. Special Element, bred for precocity, very even in his first start.
It's so funny. It's exactly what I wrote down. Kind of ran evenly, but can improve with the start. Bill Mott's horses tend to get better with racing.
This is how you start a big Saturday at Saratoga. 2-year-olds maiden special weight, post time 3 minutes. And with that, we say hello to Maggie Wolfendale, standing by in the winner's circle. Maggie, a very happy Alabama Saturday to you.
As to you, Lafitte, and we got some cooler temperatures here today. It's definitely a little bit more of a brisk August day than what we're typically used to, as we'll take a look at your current favorite. That is number 1, Risk It in here for Steve Asmussen. And typical of Steve's horses, this horse is telling me that he should have some early speed. And look, Gun Runner, he hits at 19% with his 2-year-old first-time starters, and he's just really well prepared. He's well muscled. Wish I saw a little bit more fluidity in the warm-up, just as the favorite. Now, typically these horses are quite quick. How did we all end up on the 6th? Anyway, we'll get to Act of Mutiny in a second. But again, like I said, he looked good in the paddock. Just kind of didn't overtake me watching this warm-up, as we'll check in with Cody Wish's younger brother. That's number 3, Hunt Ball, half-brother that is, and also endorsed, who was a multiple grade stakes winner as well, going, kind of a middle distance on the dirt. He's a lot smaller than Cody's Wish, and even endorsed at this age, who was able to win first time out here up at Saratoga. Now, watching his workouts, if you go back a ways on XBTV, he did not wear blinkers in the works, and he never really wanted to go by any of the workmates. But you watch his latest, which was with a filly that'll run tomorrow by the name Money Rocket, who worked very quickly at the OBS sales. He really kind of never wanted to let her by in the gallop out. So I thought that was promising. It's not a thing that Bill Mott opts to do often with these blinkers on. He is very fit, and he was very aggressive with Junior in the warm-up. And I think that, watching the warm-ups, he's actually elevated in my eyes as number 4, Middle Market. Very good-looking son of McLean's Music. Bigger horse. Really has a lot of physical maturity. But for a Chad Brown runner, I thought could use a race just to really get kind of tucked up here, but has gotten a nice warm-up, has done everything right. Won't be surprised when he runs well. As we'll move on to Act of Mutiny. Now, he was a steward scratch back on July 29th, but this guy is a half to Catalina Cruiser, half to Royal Flag, Eagle. All of them were runners, and he is very fit. He's beautifully put together, just really well balanced. He's been very mature acting. I like everything about him, other than the fact that Shug McGahee's barn has not been firing on all cylinders up here at the spa, so hoping Act of Mutiny can wake him up a little bit. I will say this, though. The workouts have gotten better, but he was outworked by a horse named Pentathlon, who did not run very well first time out, though that was about a month ago in the workout regime. As number 5, World Fair. Look, he's about the same price as a first-time starter in here. Remember the name. I would much rather take World Fair with the experience edge over that firster, because World Fair was very green first time out in the preliminaries, and he has done nothing wrong today. He's remained quiet. He just laser focused with those blinkers on for Ron Moquette, and he looks like there's ability. He is a big, mature, just really powerful looking horse. Look for him to run better, Lafitte, as he had to be hustled at the start after lunging. Then he just seemed to get intimidated. He was just green throughout. So I think the blinkers, the experience will improve his effort.
Different colt today, World Fair, 9-1 if you like him. So you're all on the 6. Act of Mutiny, the Will Ferrish debuting homebred. And yeah, his brothers and sisters were pretty good.
Yeah, but we talk about it often, right? Mrs. Marciano had 6 children. She only had 1 Rocky. But I like the horse's work pattern. I love those steady 48s, 48 and 3, 2 starts, 2 works back, 48 and 2 out of the gate. Shug McGahee doesn't work his horses fast, so that tells me this horse is doing it properly, the right way.
Exactly. I've noticed those progressively improving workouts. He's been a nice workhorse so far. And even we've talked about how big this pedigree is with those multiple graded stakes winning siblings. There was some precocity with them as well. 2 of the 5 foals won on debut, a third ran third. So this is also a win early type of pedigree, even though they were able to carry on that kind of stardom going throughout their careers as well.
9-2. Maybe this will get things going for Shug McGahee, legend, Hall of Famer. Quiet meet through the first several weeks at Saratoga. Remember the name, steps forward. Risk It, number 1, the favorite, 9-5. Cody's Wishes half-brother. There he is. And Temperamental, was that him? There he is, Richie.
Yeah.
Hunt Ball.
Watching him in the morning, he can be a little obstinate at times, a little bit tough, very colty. With his pedigree, though, you know, they're going to give him every opportunity to develop and grow into himself.
They're the sentimental favorite, fan favorite. Everyone excited to see what Hunt Ball, Cody's Wishes brother, does in his debut. There goes World Fair. Everybody on Team Saratoga Live on Act of Mutiny number 6. Frank Mirmati with the call, the opener on Alabama Day from Saratoga.
Thank you very much, Lafitte. There are the colors of Will Ferrish. Act of Mutiny. Just a little hesitant to go in. On the board at 9-2 as he steps forward. And Special Element to the outside. They're in the gate. And they're off and Risk It. Very quick away from the gate. Remember the Name comes away in second. Far outside, Special Element, Act of Mutiny in between horses in a tad tight 2. And World Fair is 5th, 4 lengths off the lead. At the rail, Hunt Ball moves up a couple of spots, and the early trailer is Middle Market. It's Risk It, blazing the way past the half-mile pole. In front by 2.5 lengths. Special Element takes second. The opening quarter went in 22 3/5 seconds. Then Remember the Name third, Act of Mutiny 4th on the outside. And Hunt Ball, Blue Silks moving up willingly in between horses. Only 3 lengths off the pace. He is right next to Act of Mutiny, and they're moving in tandem after front running Risk It as the field passes the quarter pole and turns for home. Risk It in front. Hunt Ball moves clearly into second to try and run him down, and he's coming with good-looking strides too. It's Risk It digging in. Hunt Ball 2 behind in second as they come to the 16th. Risk It still under a hand ride from Tyler Gaffleone, and he opens up once again. A very sharp performance from Risk It, scoring by 4. Hunt Ball was second. It's a close photo for third, either Middle Market or Special Element.
Sharp is right. Frank Mirmati, Risk It, broke Sharp. Tyler Gaffleone turns back the challenge of Hunt Ball, who just galloped right on by after the wire. Risk It, the favorite, delivers in his debut in the opener.
But you want to talk about just a complete opposite kind of debuts. Risk It exploded from the starting stalls, established the lead quickly, was very professional, very focused. When he was asked for his best turning for home, you could see him pin his ears and bear down and really kick on another son of gun runner that can run. Hunt Ball ran terrific, didn't break very well, kind of took the dirt, got a lot of experience, came through traffic, came up second best, but not nearly as professional as the winner.
I think this will be a race where we take a look back and we see some good horses come out of this race that did not run all that well in a race like this. And this is an example of there being some smart money on this 2-year-old first-time starter. This horse went off at 8-5.
Yeah,
4-1 morning line. Tyler Gaffalione, crop uncocked, urging Risk It responding. Hunt Ball, are you a gallop out guy, Richie? Do you pay attention? Because Hunt Ball, a big gallop out for those who buy into that sort of thing.
No, I am a big gallop out guy. I'll put a little bit less of stock into this today because Hunt Ball ran up within 3/4 of a length of Risk It, and Risk It kicked on away from him. Now on the gallop out, it looked like Risk It said, okay, my job's done. He shut down where Hunt Ball stayed on. The fact that he took his best punch, though, and shook it off, I won't say that it would be more distance would have made the difference today.
Promising colt. North America's all-time leading trainer, Steve Asmussen. And Sarah, the beat goes on for Tyler Gaffalione, the best summer he's ever had at Saratoga.
Oh, he's been having an incredible meet here, and we know him to have so much success throughout the Kentucky circuit. But for him to be able to have the kind of live opportunities that he has had so far this meet here and just ride at this very competitive level with riders that stay on this circuit all year long, it's incredible what he's been able to do so far.
3 chimneys, Winchell Thoroughbred, Risk It, 8-5 in the opener on Alabama Day at Saratoga. Results when we come back, plus the trainer who saddled the last 2 Alabama winners, Todd Pletcher running a trio today. Julia Shining, big sister, won this race. Can she do the same? Chocolate Gelato graduated here, grade 1 winner, but not much this year. Gambling Girl, Kentucky Oaks runner-up, deep closing, New York bred, just getting started on Saratoga Live.
Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. He added turf credentials to his resume with a determined victory in the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales rate.
280,000 just way.
In the bank, 191,000.
150,000 Nader Tomas, thank you.
A dual surface classic winning son of Warfront, War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2, as always, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Saw the colors of last year's Alabama winner. That was the Rapoli colors, co-owned by Eclipse Thoroughbreds. Nest 3-year-old filly champion. Risk It in the Spendthrift 2-year-old race of the day, Sarah. We'll get your thoughts on his performance in a moment. We get right to the winner's circle. Maggie Wolfendale standing by with winning trainer Steve Asmussen.
Thank you, Lafitte. And Steve, just reflecting on Risk It, the way he was bet indicated that he would have that brilliant early foot.
He's a nice colt, and he's looked like it for a long time. You know, it's just great to have another, the Gunrunner partnership, 3 Chimneys and Winchell, and hopefully they're in on another good one.
They actually, bought this one, though,
Yes.
for $500,000.
At Keeneland, September last year. He's obviously extremely attractive, and the Gunrunners are as good as it gets, so it's a very exciting horse.
He looks a lot like Gunrunner, no?
He's got the demeanor, great ability, you know, and we expect him to stretch out nicely, but he's always been talented. Came through the program, Mom and Dad's program, and in Laredo has acted the part, and it's great to see him win here at Saratoga.
Is it something Mom and Dad do that gets your horses, these young ones, to break so quickly?
David Fisk calls it the Laredo leap, but it's quite unique, and it's I mean, they just spend a lot of time with him at the gate individually, and it's the crew that he's had and the great job that he's always done.
And they're so comfortable in there, too, and they just break like rocket ships. Congratulations here.
Oh, thank you very much. Very proud.
As he should be, Risk It, campaigning the sire Gunrunner, and yet another 2-year-old debut winner for the team. Guys?
The assembly line, the Gunrunner assembly line, and going back to Steve's father's training center, Richie, that he mentioned in Laredo.
Yeah, it's truly a family affair, and they have such an advantage. They have these horses from early on, and they're broken to saddle and bridle and trained there. And when they come to Steve, they're so professional, and that's the product right there. They explode out of the starting gate. They're focused. They know what they're there for. Both of Steve's parents do an amazing job. Just tremendous horse people.
They're just mentally ready for the debut, and the physical attributes and the talent, Sarah, to go with it and Risk It.
And we know that Steve Asmussen is certainly so capable of having those 2-year-old first-time starters, especially the Colts, come with their professionalism and some really quick speed out of the gate on debut. A lot of good names come to mind, Jackie's Warrior being one of them. So he's certainly done this before.
He won a Saratoga special in those colors we saw in the hopeful winner's circle a few years back with Gunite. Look forward to seeing what Risk It does moving forward. Another promising prospect for the team by Gunrunner. Field for the second, more 2-year-olds, more maidens. Off the turf on the main track, the distance now a mile out of the Wilson Chute. $105,000 purse, current favorite number 8, Blessed Furnace at 5-2. When we come back, star jockey Arad Ortiz. Several live mounts today included, prerequisite in the Lake Placid, Gambling Girl in the Alabama, riding in 10 of 11 races. How many will Saratoga's leading rider win today? You're watching Saratoga Live.
Approaches the quarter pole, and it's Gunite trying to fend off Elite Power, who's motoring like a big chestnut tank on the outside. And Elite Power and Gunite, Elite Power got him right on the money in 109.22 seconds.
Herman, the classic sire.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Gunrunner currently ranks number 4 on the general sire list with over $10 million in 2023 progeny earnings. Counted among his 25 current stakes performers, of which 16 are graded, are recent stakes winners Echo Zulu, Gunite, Disarm, Red Route 1, Shotgun Hottie, and track record setter Society.
Streaking through the stretch to score by 9 lengths on the wire. In Italian to win it.
And here is domestic spending.
And Pearl with plenty left in the tank.
Program trading. Ocean Road.
It will be McCulloch.
Victoria Road down to the line.
Will be
Great to have you with us on Alabama Day. Saratoga Live is always brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years doing the usual, unusually well.
Elate has taken the lead. It is Elate coming to the final furlong in the Alabama, putting away It Is Well. Salty runs through an opening on the inside, up into third. Lockdown is fourth, and then Actress on the outside, but Elate is clear. Elate has moved away to a 4-length lead in mid-stretch. It Is Well clings to second, and then it's Salty. Elate has won the Alabama.
What a talented filly, super talented Richie Elate, 2017 Alabama winner.
Yeah, I love that big, long stride that she had. She put her head out and down and just covered so much ground. And you knew that she would relish every bit of the 1.25 miles, Sarah.
Absolutely, especially after her narrowly defeated second to Abel Tasman in the Coaching Club American Oaks before that. You could kind of tell that she was looking for a little bit more distance to work with, and such an impressive performance for her when she was able to get it.
Lots to smile about there. Jose Ortiz, she was second in 3 Grade 1 races at Saratoga, twice in the personal ensign. The Alabama, by the numbers, 1872, first running, long time ago. Who was fastest? New York's darling, Go for Juan, 1.25 miles, 2 minutes and 4/5. Most wins by an owner, Bel Air stud, 5 Alabama victories over 3 decades. Most wins by a trainer, legend Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons, 8-time Alabama winning trainer. Most wins by a jockey, the number is 5, 3 of the very best, Mike Smith, George Velasquez, and Jerry Bailey. The only mare to complete the Alabama Breeders' Cup Distaff sweep, Royal Delta, 2011. Alabama winners, crown champion, amazing. 27 of them, Alabama winners, 3-year-old filly champions. And finally, Alabama winners in the Hall of Fame, the number is 12, Songbird, most recent, inducted a couple of weeks ago. The Alabama, by the numbers. So much history and prestige. Richie, is there one that comes to mind, a personal favorite, Alabama?
Yeah, they're all personal favorites, but one to pick would be Go for Juan's Alabama. It came 9 days after she won the 7-furlong test stakes.
Wow.
And then she comes back and runs the fastest 1.25 miles for a filly in the Alabama in just over 2 minutes. That speaks of her speed and her ability to stay, speed and stamina, and that's why she was the great champion that she was. So her Alabama stands out.
That's like right there with Conquistador Cielo, winning the Met Mile on a Monday in the Belmont Stakes 5 days later. And of course, the Alabama is the America's Best Racing's race of the week. Here's the field, much deeper than the Coaching Club American Oaks, more talent. 1.25 miles, $600,000 purse. Number 2, Wet Paint, 2-1 morning line favorite, 10 3-year-old fillies. We did the barnstorming. Let's meet the field in post position order. Sacred Wish, narrowly defeated by Wet Paint in the CCA Oaks.
Yeah, good speed last time in the CCA Oaks. That was going 1.25 miles, but set legitimate to slower fractions and had no answer for Wet Paint late. Now she got to negotiate another furlong as well and more speed.
There is Wet Paint, Godolphin CCA Oaks winner.
She's got a lot in her favor. The fact that she doesn't need a pace setup to be successful, even though she's likely to get one today. That will to win, having faced a lot of these foes before and been able to defeat them, she's a very legitimate favorite going into this spot.
Number 3, Julia Shining, first of 3 for Todd Pletcher, unraced since April.
Yes, Sister to Malathat, a winner of the Alabama. I like the way she's working. She's always been somewhat of a bicycle horse. If you're not pedaling, she's not running. Her work 2 back, I was by the rail watching it, and she cruised into the bit. I thought that was a sensational work from her.
Anybody can pull this off. It's Todd Pletcher looking for a 3rd straight Alabama. Number 4, Sabra Tough. A long shot, yes, but a long shot trained by Dallas Stewart.
Yeah, great to see them take a shot in a spot like this. And this is a horse that had some okay races as a 2-year-old where she outran her odds on multiple occasions. We'll see if this ends up being what she wants to do, getting a little bit more distance to work with than she's ever had before.
Fireline, Juddmonte homebred, defeated Delaware Oaks favorite.
I really loved her maiden breaking effort, came back with a mile win, was very short price favorite in Delaware Oaks, did not run up to par, but her sire, Arrogate, has run the fastest 1.25 miles in history of Saratoga Racetrack. And remember, they ran the first meeting here 3 months after the Battle of Gettysburg.
Chocolate Gelato graduated here last summer. She is a Grade 1 winner.
Yeah, that Frazette that you're mentioning over a sloppy steel track as a 2-year-old hasn't necessarily taken that step forward from 2 to 3 in what we've seen so far. but hasn't run a lot since that race either, so there's plenty of upside and room for improvement.
Speed should heat things up for stablemate Gambling Girl. There is Gambling Girl. Rapoli, Pletcher fillies will break side by side.
I thought she ran a little flat in the Coaching Cup American Oaks. She hadn't been seen since the Kentucky Oaks, and that was a terrific effort against Pretty Mischievous. Gambling Girl, I think, will run her A race today. I think she needed one off the bench.
Number 8, Randomized. Fast, very talented, and dangerous.
She's still very lightly raced as well, and she ran a huge 97 by her speed figure compared to the rest of this field, and even compared to your favorite wet paint, that's faster than a lot of these other horses have gone before. If she can sustain that kind of number over this distance, she's a bit of an interesting player.
Number 9 is Taxed, the Black-Eyed Susan winner, day before the Preakness for trainer Randy Morse.
Very impressive in the Black-Eyed Susan. Circled up at Pimlico. Not an easy thing to do to come wide the way she did. Just overpowered that field. Good effort in the Indiana Oaks, but she needs to get back to that Black-Eyed Susan or better to be tough here. Certainly a major contender.
I'm convinced of this. She will get bet. Lots of buzz with Taxed. Defining purpose. She just beat Taxed in the Indiana Oaks.
And she's an upset winner of that Grade 1 Ashland right before the Kentucky Oaks, so she has some of those races against company of this type to go back to. We'll see where she's placed early. She does draw well towards the outside.
Trained by Kenny McPeak, already a 2-time Alabama winning trainer. And later today, the Alabama is on Fox. Top class 3-year-old fillies, American Classic Racing distance, 1.25 miles. Championship implications are very real. The Alabama, 3 Eastern only on Fox. Can't wait for the Alabama. Second race coming up. Maidens, again, these races all about promise, but this one off the turf on the main track, 1 mile out of the Wilson Chute. 2-year-olds in the paddock. Live look in the paddock. There is Tom Collins, the current tepid choice at 3-1. Maggie Wolfendale standing by with his 2-year-old paddock report.
And Lafitte, 4 gray 2-year-olds here. We'll start things off with 2 of them, beginning with Tom Collins. Love, Party Now, The Dam, and all the different names they can come up with. As we'll take a look at him, he does look a little bit more turfman in his physical makeup, but he is taking quite a bit of money. He is a good-looking sort. He's probably 90% fit, and he was a little obstreperous to get the tack on. He hasn't done anything else wrong. It's just like a little bit of a claustrophobic type of thing, like, ooh, wow, not used to having this tight a girth on, and another one over that. There's probably ability here. Are we gonna see it first time out here going 1 mile in the dirt? I'm not so sure. As we'll move on to number 7, Skylar's Artemis. Now, this guy by Flame Away, who only stands for 7,500, but has gone 4 for 27 with his 2-year-old crop so far. They have been a lot more effective on the turf. And yes, again, another horse that probably wants the turf more, but on the flip side of that, the Dam won her first 2 races as a 2-year-old, including the Grade 2 Pocahontas at 1 mile. And this one's half to Champion's Dream, who won first time out here at the Spa for Danny Gargan and would come back 2 starts later and win the Grade 3 Nashua going a distance of ground. So he's got all the credentials and the pedigree to say that he could be effective in this spot. I like what I'm seeing from him, especially looking at him as far as the dirt is concerned and watching his workout 2-back from the gate. He broke with an experienced horse and broke just a touch slower, but quickly found his stride and went along really nicely with those blinkers on that you're seeing him wear in this debut. So I think he's really well turned out for this first start of his career, and really like the pedigree to back him up, considering the precocity there. Moving on to one that draws in from the AEs, that's number 11, Rocket Knight, son of Quality Road. The Dam won first time out as a 2-year-old as well. This is her first foal to run. It kind of concerns me because overall this is a little bit more of a dirt pedigree, and all the workouts have been on the dirt, but entered for the turf first time out. Now, comes in here incredibly fit for Belmont, was wearing the training saddle that just to help horses feel a little more at ease when they get tacked up. He's really done nothing wrong. In fact, he's almost on the sleepy side of things. So he looks as though he should be fine on this surface. He actually looks more meant for the dirt, but it concerns me, why was he entered for the turf? As we'll move on to one who has some experience, that's number 1, Holton, for Mike Maker. Now, At first, when he came in, he was a little bit more relaxed than the debut, but once they got him tacked, he kind of blew himself up as he'll apply a pair of short-cut cheater blinkers. And I really think that getting a little bit more ground to work with should help this son of American Pharoah out of a dam. He's a very talented New York bred who liked more ground to work with, and he was making up some ground late, albeit very mildly, behind a race that was a bit more dominated in a forward fashion. And he certainly has the physical frame that says longer will be better, just a good size, kind of long, rangy type of frame. But also, Lafitte, look for him to show a bit more speed than that sloppy track debut.
Holton would be better off showing more speed today, breaking from the inside, coming out of the Wilson chute.
Yeah, and then that quick run to that half a turn they've got to make, and you can use that inside position to your advantage. Also, you don't want the whole field to be able to fold over on you, and now you get shuffled back out of the race. So holding inside position, critical for the one horse here.
So you look at Irad Ortiz and Sarah, the first adjustment you make as a handicapper with these surface switches to the main track, specifically for 2-year-olds.
Well, when I'm looking at these 2-year-old first-time starters and even some horses that have run once or twice before, pedigree is such a big factor when you have a surface switch right off the bat, as well as perhaps trainer intention, because if you've been paying attention at all this meet, you know that we've taken a significant portion of our races off the turf. And so if as a fan and handicapper you're aware of that, you're also aware of that as a trainer. So perhaps you enter in a spot like this thinking that more likely than not, that may end up being the circumstance, and you get a couple of horses in this race that perhaps have been dirt meant all along. But I'm not the first person to say this, and it's something I stand by. In situations like this, these races are frequently misbet because people still fixate on the fact that certain horses that might have more turfy pedigrees, that were going to be short prices on that surface, are still involved. It's a different situation here.
It presents opportunity, presents value. These 2-year-olds on the main track now wide open with Tom Collins, the tepid 3-1 favorite. There is Holton, who did chase, sees the gray, and Dornoch in his debut. Tom Collins, the favorite first-time starter.
And this is one of those horses that I believe is being bet on what would have been a turf race type of pedigree so far. So this is one I'd prefer when he does eventually get to the grass.
Divine Empire exits the same race as Holton.
Yeah, had post one that day and was very green, ducked in, kind of ran away from horses. Should appreciate stretching to the mile and has a race under his belt.
Dancing Groom, Irad Ortiz does take over.
I thought this horse was very interesting, was kind of even chasing the entire way wide. I think he could take a big step forward here.
Maggie liked what she saw from Skylar's Artemis.
That's enough of an endorsement for me when Maggie likes one. Nice looking gray son of Flame Away here, and you get Johnny Velasquez for John Terranova.
Blast Furnace, edge in experience. Number 9, Dangerous Driver, struggled in 2 starts.
Is going to have to improve drastically.
24-1 outsider. Get ready to rock. Yet another fresh face.
Another first-time starter on race dam. One sibling to win, was an off-the-turf race, but not much pedigree to speak of on that dam side.
And number 11, Rocket Knight, with the defection of Buffoon, draws in, and 5-1 live on the board.
Yeah, live on the board. I like that sharp, quick 3-furlong blowout for this race in 35-1. Speaks to me that a horse that they wanted sharp and kind of came up with a sharp, quick work.
5-1. So who's ready to graduate? 2-year-olds, race 2, post time 3 minutes. Friendly reminder, later today, late pick $5 million bonus. Play the late pick 5 Naira bets. Hit the late pick 5 Naira bets. If you're the only one, won $1 million bonus only on weekends. NairaBets.com. Circle back to Dancing Groom and jockey Irad Ortiz. Checking the standings. Game of Silks jockey standings, Richie. It is getting late early for everyone chasing Irad Ortiz.
Yeah, every day that ticks by, a little bit tougher to make any kind of impact. Luis Saez got within 5 of Irad. Now Irad quick opened up another 5. He's got a 10-length lead, and after today, 12 racing days left.
And of course, plenty of live mounts for Irad Ortiz Jr. today and every day of the meet. And this is even with a couple of days off as well, to have this much of a substantial lead over everybody else.
Funny how the lead only shrank when he was serving a 3-day suspension. Irad Ortiz, it's amazing how he wins them in bunches, Richie. He'll get in a groove, and it's like look out. We just saw that last week with the 4-win day he had Friday, I believe it was.
Yeah, well, there's never any letdown with Irad Ortiz. He's going 100 miles an hour all the time, and his passion, his dedication, his intensity for winning never wanes. Sometimes riders win 3 or 4 races, and the tendency is, oh, I've had a good day. He approaches every race like it's going to be his last ride. He is on his belly. The same thing that leads me to criticize him sometimes is the same thing that makes me admire him so much, is his intensity and his will to win.
Working on a 5th Saratoga riding title, Irad Ortiz. Maggie, what are you noticing from the 2-year-old he's about to ride, Dancing Groom?
Well, I like him in this spot. I wrote first time out, long-bodied, needs longer. He gets it here, and he gets it on the dirt, in which I thought he ran a sneaky good race first time out. He kind of broke well behind Valentine Candy, who broke like like a rocket ship, typical of these Steve Asmussen first-time starters, right? And then he just kind of chased, and then he got shuffled back and kind of lost contact a little bit around the turn. And then down the stretch, he kind of leveled off and came on again and just really hinted at more ground will be better. And he's really relaxed for this second start. If anything, he's stronger having that race under his belt. We see Irad Ortiz giving him a nice solo warm-up here. I think he's going to be very effective in this spot. Of course, Irad always hurting one's price. Sorry, Meg. As we'll move on to another one that has some experience, but trying the dirt for the first time is number 8, Blast Furnace. Now, New Connections picked this one up for $105,000 at the Fasig-Tipton Horses of Racing Age sale after 2 races, I should say, on the turf, in which faced some good company. Really nice mover, but usually when they move like that, it's because they want the turf. Looks good here. I respect Cherie DeVoe, and I appreciate her keeping him in, but I just feel like there's a little bit more turf action with this guy. But I will say that the dam, although she went on the turf, 2 of the 4 siblings to win did so in dirt races, but very, very lower level company. Lafitte?
Good stuff, Maggie. This is exactly what you were talking about, Sarah, between Divine Empire, pictured, and Blast Furnace, who we were just looking at. Maybe this race is being misbet. Maybe there's opportunity and value elsewhere.
Well, that's certainly what I'm hoping for. I like one of the horses with some experience who's a huge price right now of 15-1. And I think if you like the number 1 Houtland at all, you have to take a look at a horse like Divine Empire, because they come out of the same race, which was over a sloppy sealed track. That race won by Seize the Gray. We saw come back in a stakes race off the turf.
Ran well yesterday.
So certainly facing decent company. Dornock, the half-sibling to Mage, finished second in there. And this is a horse that broke from the rail that day, ended up having to find himself in last early on, and then he has another point where he has to steady as well. So he faced some trouble early on in that race, got a good education, taking a ton of kickback behind horses over a wet surface, made up a little bit of ground. I would have loved to have seen some more, but perhaps just needed a start. Now has that experience, that good education coming in here, a little bit of extra ground added, and I just think he's way too big of a price right now.
Yeah, correction, you had mentioned Tom Collins, number 2, who was taking some money here that you thought more turfy and
Yes.
concerns about surface preference.
Correct.
Yeah. So you're going with Divine Empire, 15-1. Richie, final thoughts as they file in behind this Wilson Chute?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the 5 Dancing Groom. I thought his first race, like Maggie talked about, sneaky. It was better than it looked, and I do think he'll appreciate stretching to the mile with the start under his belt. He'll be my top selection. And we had a nice 2-year-old race in the first, Lafitte. Well, what's better than a 2-year-old race in Saratoga? Back-to-back 2-year-old races.
Freshman kicking off the Alabama program. Overcast here, no rain expected. Alabama later on Fox. Coverage begins 3 Eastern, marching towards Saratoga's most prestigious race for 3-year-old fillies. This one off the turf on the main track, out of the Wilson Chute, these 2-year-olds. Number 10, a long shot throwing his head. Get ready to rock. Final check of the toe board, just wide open. Rocket Knight, 3-1 Richie in there. Skylar's Artemis, first day on the job for him, and he's acting like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all new. Even though they've been extensively schooled at the starting gate in the mornings, Lafitte, different atmosphere, a lot more horses. Usually when horses break out of the gate in the mornings, it's with 1, 2, maybe 3 other horses. Now it's a full field, and they're like little kids going to the first day of kindergarten. They're watching the other kids and seeing how they're going to react, letting go of mom's hand and walking into that classroom.
The children, see how they behave as Tom Collins trying to be coaxed forward. Saw those silks, not those silks, Tom Collins silks. Stuart Janney colors in the winner's circle following the 2013 Kentucky Derby Orb. What will Tom Collins do in his debut for Shug McGahee? 3-1 on Rocket Knight. And that's it. Look, over the last several minutes, we've seen 4 different 2-year-olds, Richie, emerge as the favorite at one time or another.
And that's the beauty of Saratoga. We see so many good horses over the years. And, you know, I'm going back a long time. You'll see a maiden race where not only did the champion 2-year-old come out of that race, but next year's Derby winner or next year's Turf champion, just loaded with quality.
Where it all starts, post time for the second 2-year-olds. Here's Frank Miramati.
Rocket Knight walking up and in. They're in the gate. And they're off. And it's a very quick start for Tom Collins. Flashing good speed. Here's Divine Empire, hustled pretty hard in between horses to vie for command, and Dancing Groom is 3 deep. They are followed by Blast Furnace, who's 4th in the early going, 3 lengths off the pace. Down at the rail comes Holton with Skylar's Artemis right next to him in the yellow colors, and a bit of traffic through an opening quarter that went in 24 seconds flat. Backing off that group is Dancing Groom, now 4 off the lead. Another 2 back to Dangerous Driver. And at the back of the field, Rocket Knight together with Get Ready to Rock. Down the back stretch, and it's Tom Collins in front by a length and a half. Divine Empire, Holton is down on the inside, and Blast Furnace outside of that group, as Divine Empire is the first to challenge and take the lead away now from front-running Tom Collins. The half went in 47 3/5 seconds. Divine Empire leads them to the quarter pole. Has it by about a length and a half. On the outside, Dancing Groom ranging right into contention with a nice bid. Holton in the red is on the outside. Tom Collins drops back, as does Blast Furnace. They are at the top of the stretch, and it's Dancing Groom a length and a half in front. Holton on the outside, and Divine Empire a long way back. Rocket Knight is finishing with a bit of interest late. 16th to go, and it's Dancing Groom. Dancing Groom in a dominant victory. Dancing Groom reports home 4.5 lengths in front of Holton, then Divine Empire and Rocket Knight.
There goes that man. Arad Ortiz, first ride of the day, first win of the day. Pilot's Gambling Girl in the Grade 1. Alabama strikes here with Dancing Groom. Richie, well done. 9-2 for your top selection.
Yeah, being by Vino Rosso, a first crop sire, now getting the stretch out to a mile. We know Vino Rosso got better as the distances got longer. He was more professional today too, put himself right in the game. Irad did something interesting. He was laying 3rd, and he decided to take him back a little further down the back stretch. He felt like, I guess, everybody was getting in a little bit too much of a hurry, and the fractions would certainly back that up. They went 24 to 47 in 3. So a real heads-up ride by Irad. This is a nice colt for Antonio Sano, one of the nicest gentlemen you're ever going to meet in your life.
Yeah, great selection by you, Richie. A much more professional race from this horse, as well as 2 others that had some experience, and something we talked about before this race, a misbet type of situation. Horses with dirt experience ran very well.
The long shot you like, Divine Empire gave you a run for his money in front, turning for home. There he is, but in the end, too much Dancing Groom. Arad Ortiz, as you mentioned, Antonio Sano. Dancing Groom in his second career start, 5-1-3-11. And Holton running second, flattering that common race back on Jim Dandy Day with Seize the Gray coming back running well after a bad start yesterday in the Skidmore, and for Mage's half-brother Dornock as well.
Definitely one to watch going forwards. Of course, we're going to anyway with that kind of big pedigree, but nice to know coming out of a live race.
Dancing Groom, and you said at the start, Rich, that's as clean as a break as you'll ever see with 2-year-olds.
You know, we get the head-on from the Wilson Chute, the mile races. There was minimal contact at best, and everybody kind of held their lane. That's the way starts should look, but they very rarely do.
They don't always. They don't always. Arad Ortiz heading back to a familiar setting. The winner's circle at Saratoga. Lots to smile about. 5-1-3-11 and 9-2. Dancing Groom. The Sun Up Breeders' Cup Classic winner Vino Rosso, race 2 from the Spa. And in 7 days, the Travers Derby winner will run. Mage Preakness winner will run. National treasure. Guess what? Belmont winner. He'll run as well. Arcangelo, the Travers, next Saturday. You're watching Saratoga Live.
Spun to run. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more, and he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Now, this multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, and Breeders' Cup champion is passing his remarkable talent along to his progeny.
95, 5, 200, 200 down, 2, in the back. Patrick, 200,000. Thank you.
Spun to run, standing at Gainesway.
Introducing the Caesars Racebook app, the ultimate destination for racing enthusiasts. Built on the trusted Naira Bets platform, you can watch and wager on over 300 racetracks worldwide, including Saratoga. And the best part? Every bet earns you exciting reward credits that can be redeemed for your next bet, hotel stays, dining, and more. Get started today and receive up to $200 matched on your first deposit. Download the Caesars Racebook app and embrace the thrill of horse racing.
It's a big day at Saratoga, the Alabama, yes, but it's not all about the racing, Richie. Also, Lust Garden Day in support of pancreatic cancer research.
Yeah, and I just am so proud and happy with the trainers here in Saratoga. They all take the time out of their busy routines to come and sign autographs, understanding how important it is, the research for Lust Garden. And, you know, we lost Dominic Galluccio to this disease, and it happened so fast, and he was somebody so beloved by everybody in the racetrack, a dear friend of mine, and he is missed every day here.
Seeing a lot of purple here at Saratoga for Dominic Galluccio. Lust Garden Day, all part of Alabama Saturday here at Saratoga. Dancing Groom, 1140, Arad Ortiz, trained by Antonio Sano, standing by with Maggie in the winner's circle.
And Antonio Sano having himself a meet, your third winner in what, just 6 starters. So
that's good.
huge performance. You brought the right horses, and Dancing Groom, Antonio, I thought ran a sneaky good race last time out, and he was just crying out for more ground to cover.
Yeah. The horse last race, remember the jockey run 6 furlong. Yep. I told me needs more distance. Yep. The horses said. I think so. The change the trainer for the more than the horse 2 years old. I told her that, you know what you do. Come on. It sounds good, the result is good.
And he was powerful. It feels like even further than a mile could be in his wheelhouse.
The mile is good. The mile good. Maybe more distance, very good. The same the father.
Yeah.
The same father. Okay.
Looks like you have a nice, how many horses did you bring up again?
Only 4 horses I have here.
And have you run them all?
Yeah.
And you've won with 3 of them?
Another 2 horses in the end of the meet. I finished for this year. Thanks for all, for support the people hear me.
Well, congratulations to you. Always a pleasure to see you up here, and what a meet. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to me. Good blessing.
Antonio Sano always has a smile on his face. His horses are running very well too, Greg. Sorry, Lafitte.
Like it's no big deal. Just a handful of horses. Each one he leads over, wins or runs well. Yeah, just another Saturday at Saratoga for Antonio Sano.
You know, I never had the opportunity to ride for Antonio, but I interviewed him a great deal and got to know him. He's just such a classy individual, and he's such a true horseman. It's all about his horses, and I think he handpicks what he's going to bring to Saratoga that he believes can fit, and obviously Dancing Groom fit well.
Yeah, he's picking the right ones. Sarah.
Clearly doing a good job with that, finding those right spots for the right horses and bringing up even a smaller stable at that. And, you know, he makes it sound like an easy game, right?
Yeah.
No big deal.
Handful of horses, bunch of wins at Saratoga. What else is new for trainer Antonio Sano? Race number 3, turning the page. Turf sprint here. Good allowance race. See the field updated odds and the entry currently 2-for-1. You're getting 5-2. My Sweet Affair and Miss Domina. 5-2, 20 minutes out. Next Saturday, there you see the Travers Canoe. It's all part of the tradition. Epicenter winning in 2022 in those Winchell Thoroughbred colors. For now, probables for next Saturday's Travers. You have the Derby winner, Preakness winner, Belmont winner, a reigning 2-year-old champion. Not bad. You might say the best race of the year with serious 3-year-old championship implications. Let's start with the Derby winner Mage. Breezing this morning, Richie, getting closer to Travers. I don't want to hear any of this 70% stuff getting ready for the Travers.
Yeah, I think coming off the Haskell, and look at, he basically galloped off the pole. He never looked like he was doing anything. He looked like it was just in a high gallop. Last 1/8 of a mile, maybe it looks like he picked it up a little bit, but when you watch a horse work and visually they don't look like they're doing anything, and then you look at the clock and they've done quite a bit more, that really points out a good horse. And I think Mage is coming into this Travers in very, very good order.
Thanks to our friends at XBTV, 3/4, 112.90. Mage loved his last race in the Haskell. And then last week, Sarah, National Treasure working out west for Bob Baffert, the Preakness winner.
This is a fast work, and I think that really speaks to the kind of running style that suits a horse like this best. He works fast. He's a speed type of horse. Seeing that 5 furlongs go in 59.6 out at Del Mar. Wonder if speed's going to end up being his best weapon, going a little bit further, and if he can handle getting 1.25 miles.
He did breeze this morning. You'll have a chance to see that later on XBTV. Quick exchange with Bob Baffert today. Asked him about, yes, the inbound hurricane in Southern California. Any concerns about travel plans? He says, not right now. We expect to get out on Tuesday. Yes, hurricane inbound Southern California. It's a crazy world. Arcangelo, the Belmont Stakes winner, who has not raced since the Belmont Stakes, Richie, you had pointed out how much you felt he was doing. Some serious heavy lifting, breeze after breeze after breeze. What'd you see here?
Well, they kind of backed off of that, and they slowed him down a little bit, and he's just in a high gallop. So I like this. I like the last work going into a race to be a maintenance work. All the heavy lifting's done. He's fit. He's coming off a 1.5 mile race. He had 3 very strong workouts in a row, and I like that they slowed the tempo down in this one. This was a much more controlled, sedate kind of work. Javier Castellano, his pilot aboard for this. I really am liking Arcangelo more and more.
One of the best stories heading into the Travers, Jenna Antonucci, first female trainer ever to train a Triple Crown race winner. Sarah, the 2-year-old champ on the outside, Forte breezing a 1/2 mile this morning.
Yeah, just an easy kind of work for him towards the outside. He's keeping those blinkers on, an equipment change that we saw for that Jim Dandy where he was able to get the win in there, and just seems like he's not really being asked for too much. This is just kind of more of a keep him together type of maintenance work for him, and just seems like he's doing it very well within himself.
Regardless of what you think of the call or non-call in the Jim Dandy, you had to love what he showed us that day. He didn't drop back on the turn with the blinkers and ran fast. He ran fast, stepping forward and showing us what we were waiting to see from the 2-year-old champ as a 3-year-old. And next Saturday, you will see the Travers on Fox. Coverage begins 3 Eastern as he chased for a 3-year-old championship. Continues. $1.25 million Travers. I know it's way early. They haven't even drawn the race, Sarah. Before we go to break, quickly, do you know who you like? for the Travers?
Boy, why would you do this to me? I don't have a solid pick yet. I'm going to try to look for a long shot as I usually do. It's going to be a wide open betting board, just like the wide open race that it is.
It's in a week. Always a good idea to go with Chad Brown in the Lake Placid. He's won 4 of them, looking for a 5th surge capacity in just his 3rd career start. One of 2 stakes races for 3-year-old fillies on Alabama Day.
I just happened to be up on the 3rd floor of the grandstand at Saratoga. So I saw a horse load up in the gate and just decided to clock it. Went like 11 and 22 and 33 and 44 and change. It was one of the fastest gate works I've ever seen.
Nashville, first time out, much the best.
Spicedown was a super fast horse. Certainly no surprise when he has an offspring like Nashville.
Never asked for a thing, track record.
Nashville for the best sprint time of the Fairgrounds meet.
Like my old boss Wayne Lucas always said, you can't coach speed.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights, like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. Start earning your $200 sign-up bonus when you sign up with offer code GET200.
Want to know a secret? The Massachusetts breeding program pays huge bonuses for finishing 1st, 2nd, or 3rd at any racetrack in the country. You didn't know that, did you? Massbreds get paid up to an additional 25% of their purse earnings for the owner, and breeder, and stallion owner, and developer. It's the best kept secret in racing, till now. Tell all your friends, and to learn more, visit massbreds.com.
Reach for the unreachable. Race to new horizons. The artisan's quest for beauty burns in the heart of Japan, forging strength like no other, with love and honed to perfection. Noble, authentic, and only here. The legacy of strength.
And Rushing Fall makes her move for the lead as they come toward the top of the stretch. Going by Go Noni Go, and Dina Del Sur comes wide. Daddy is a Legend, Capla Temptress on the far outside. Significant form behind a wall of horses with a furlong to run. Rushing Fall in front. Rushing Fall's got a 3-length lead. Capla Temptress is taken 2nd on the outside. Daddy is a Legend is 3rd. Significant form and Dina Del Sur. No match for Rushing Fall. Rushing Fall wins the Lake Placid by 3 over Capla Temptress.
Special from day one. Bob Edwards, Rushing Fall. Richie, 2018 Lake Placid winner.
What a special talent. And then to go through the trials and tribulations that she had to go through and to come back at that level. Horses tend not to come back at that superior level when they've gone through the kind of adversity Rushing Fall went through. Just a fantastic story and a terrific race mare.
Oh, she was so cool. You know, 11 for 15 in her career, earned almost $3 million throughout, and just such an incredible, consistent type of talent. And that winning margin, you don't see stuff like that on the turf quite as much as you do on dirt.
Saw Bob Edwards there, his wife leading her into the winner's circle. I remember watching her jessamine at Keeneland, and I'm like, yeah, she's special. And then a few weeks later, captured the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf at Del Mar. Chad Brown, so yeah, working on a 5th from Rushing Fall, Hottie, Technical Analysis, and Regal Glory, leads us to today's Lake Placid. 3-year-old fillies, mile and a 16th. There's the field. And the morning line favorite, a wide open race, 3-1, is Surge Capacity. And this is part of the reason why the Lake George, earlier in B, Surge Capacity, tax implications, Surge Capacity in just her 2nd career start, Richie, and what a ride from Joelle Rosario.
Well, to do this in her 2nd start, it's just remarkable. She's looking for room. You could see her almost lean up on the fence. She was looking at the horse outside of her. Joelle kind of had to steady her along at the same time trying to go forward, right? You don't want to brush the fence, but for her to come through on the inside and show this kind of professionalism and take on this quality of field in her second start speaks volumes about her ability.
A big step up, and you don't see many horses capable of going right from that maiden special weight win right into the graded stakes waters and being this game and this successful over a course with some significant give in it. And now we have not been so well treated by the weather this season, of course, but you know that that turf course, there's likely still some give because it keeps raining every day. It's nice to know that she can handle it.
Turf course listed as good, surge capacity, looking for a second graded stakes win in just her third career start. Tax implications, serious factor as well. Then the Belmont Oaks mile and a quarter with prerequisite battling on the lead and a spray. A great trip, Sarah, but just kind of flattened out late.
She did, but I will say that this was a time at Belmont, on the turf especially, that you wanted to be able to save the kind of ground that prerequisite did, and prerequisite's a horse that does often find herself forwardly placed as well. So a spray perhaps a little bit against it in terms of dynamics. Maybe you elevate her a little bit more now that she draws more towards the inside today.
You like another quick filly in the Lake Placid, yes?
I do. I like Gloria's Princess a little bit, trying to beat Chad Brown, which is against kind of the odds of how things are shaping up.
As he tries to win a 22nd Lake Placid. Speed kind of the theme here as we check in with Maggie, standing by with this race 3 Paddock report, and the speedy Shoot Out the Lights, number 6, the current 2-1 favorite, Maggie.
Lafitte, this race is fascinating, I think, as we'll check in with your favorite, though, Shoot Out the Lights. And watching her last race at Belmont Park, it was almost as if Irad Ortiz, from the outside post, didn't necessarily want to let her go on, wanted to kind of rate her and sit off of a horse that eventually, went on and cleared, but she finished better. And I think it was a really smart decision because it allowed her to learn a bit. And I think, going back to when I last saw her, which ironically wasn't at Belmont, it was at Churchill, she was still very green, despite having won her debut, and so therefore she was favored in that Mamzelle. Now maybe she is also a filly that needs Lasix, but she's just stronger, she's fitter, and boy, is her mind a lot better. She's so much more relaxed here, and I think that last race gave her that good learning experience that you don't have to, just run full tilt at all moments of a race, and that you can sit, you can relax, but obviously speed is dangerous and at a premium in these turf sprints. As we'll move on to one coming off a similar type of layoff, that's number 4, Numero 6. I haven't seen her since she was a 2-year-old and running those 2 races up here at the Spa, and in that turf debut I thought she would definitely appreciate switching to the turf, and she has grown. She's got a little bit longer, a little bit more athletic. Still not the fittest looking filly, I will admit, as she comes off of a little bit of a break here. But just a lot more calm, a lot more of a more focused individual now as a 3-year-old, and always respect Joe Sharp, especially in these turf sprints. Now moving on to a horse getting back to the turf. That's number 7, Don't Look Back at All, for Christophe Clement. And look, she's a PA bred, so I totally get shipping her to Pennsylvania to run in those state bred races, albeit on the dirt and synthetic, but she's a turf sprinter, and I remember her in that debut up here at the Spa just being kind of enamored with her. I hadn't seen many Peace and Justice progeny, and she's a big, good-looking girl, and she's just gotten even that much more athletic now as a 3-year-old. I think she's very intriguing, getting back to what I think is her preferred surface. She looks incredibly fit here for the team. And then the wild card, trying the turf for the first time with a monster turf pedigree, is number 8. You gotta have fun. Daughter of No Nay Never, out of the Galileo mare, and there is a half sibling that won on the turf, but the dam, full sister to Bolshoi Ballet, who won our Belmont Derby, multiple graded stakes winner on the turf. This gal has a turf hoof. She looks like a turf sprinter. And talking to her owner, Kirk Wyckoff, who picked her up for the $80,000 at that Horses of Racing Age sale, said she's really put on a lot of weight and conditioning, which I do tend to believe, considering where she was, and just dappled head to toe, comes in here in fine fettle for this turf debut. Lafitte?
Yeah, a clue or two that you got to have fun. Just might improve on grass. 5-1 if you like her. There is Shoot Out the Lights. Her latest, Richie, mid-June, Belmont. She was 4-5 in this afternoon. Shoot Out the Lights. Look, she's traveling so easy. How does she not win this race? Like, how does she run third?
I actually think this is a prime example of when you have a horse that has a lot of natural speed, at some point you need to create some separation. And I just think she got nursed along for so long. When she finally was asked for her best, the closers were still in close proximity to her. You need to kind of put some separation between horses with a true kick, and she got gunned down late. She probably will appreciate turning back to 5.5 and probably allowed to run a little bit freer.
All possible. This is a horse that has been a short price favorite in all 3 of her starts so far. And after we saw that pretty impressive performance first time out at Gulfstream with that 84 Beyer, I want to see it one more time at that level and earning a number like that before I take this horse at a short price again. I think this is a tougher field that she's facing today as well.
It's like you have to win that race. She's got to close
at that
the
price,
deal.
Yes, she does.
Shoot out the lights. Let's see what she does today. The presence of Arad Ortiz, who was looking for back-to-back wins. This turf sprint, turf course listed as good allowance race. 2-to-1 shoot out the lights. A post-parade brewing shortly. The stakes racing later this afternoon as you hear the call to post. Lake Placid 3-year-old fillies, Grade 1 Alabama on Fox. Coverage begins 3 Eastern. First things first, the post parade for the third in the entry, My Sweet Affair. For George Weaver, 2 for 1, you're getting 3-to-1.
Yeah, comes back in just a week. She chased the pace last time in the Galway just 7 days ago. I liked her in the Galway, so I've got to give her another try here in allowance race.
Misdemeanor, 2-time winner here at Saratoga.
Yeah, stepping up in class, but has put together a nice resume here in Saratoga. Definitely more of a closing type in this field.
Number 2, Georgie Spirit, Saddle Towel 2. She'll break from the rail.
Returns off of freshening since April. She was a decent third that day behind some pretty good horses. She does have a win last fall, breaking her maiden as a 2-year-old in a 5.5 for a long turf sprint.
Violet Gibson, back from Canada, ran 8th in the Grade 3 Colleen at Woodbine.
And turning back in distance, this horse has never run this short. Last 3 races going a mile. Will the turn back intensify her late kick?
Numero 6 is actually numero 4, and there's Tyler Gaffleone, 8-to-1.
I like this horse quite a bit. She exits a race where several horses came out and improved significantly with their Beyer speed figures.
Golden Dagger out, shoot out the lights in the quick filly, favorite at 5-2.
And you know Irad Ortiz Jr. is going to hurt your price anytime. This horse is always a short price. She's quick, but she's got to win at those short prices.
Don't look back at all, acting up a little bit, more speed on paper, third surface in as many starts.
Yeah, and definitely what Maggie talked about, being a Pennsylvania bred, took advantage of those Pennsylvania bred races, but now gets back to her preferred surface. I think she's a major player.
You got to have fun. Buy no nay never, turf debut.
Maggie made some great notes about the turf pedigree that this horse does have getting onto this surface for the first time. So if this horse can improve and take another step forward with that change, could be dangerous at a fair price right now.
Absolutely. Live on the board, 12-1 on the morning line. You got to have fun. 5-1, 3 minutes out for this third race on Alabama Saturday. Circling back to number 4 in numero 6 for trainer Joe Sharp. Sharp having a sharp meet at Saratoga. Numero 6. 2 starts back here, Sarah. This is May 20th, Churchill Downs. This turf sprint, she's 11-1. She's in charge, she's in front, but she's not home yet.
No, she's got good early speed, and you know, in a turf sprint, when you break from post 11, for her to at this point in the race, and even earlier than that, be all the way down on the rail, you know that they've used some of that early speed to get her into a good early position. She does just get run down late, but that was a decent effort by her, and she earned an 82 Beyer speed figure for that, and that makes her competitive enough with the best race that we'd seen so far from Shoot Out the Lights. And if you look at the price discrepancy, this is a horse I want all day over a favorite like that.
We're not sure what the riders are going to do, Richie, once the gates open, but on paper, this should be a lively pace.
It looks like ample speed signed on. The problem is jockeys read the racing form too. And sometimes just psychologically you overthink it and you go, wow, there's 5 speeds in here and I'm one of them. Well, let me see how it plays out up the break. And then everybody comes out of the gate looking at each other and the pace doesn't develop the way you would expect it. That's less so in 5.5 furlong sprints, but I think sometimes when people get frustrated, lack of pace, that's the reason why.
And look, Flavien Prat, the day in front of him, he's about to ride Georgie Spirit, a date with Wet Paint, the morning line favorite in the Alabama, and tonight driving at Saratoga harness for a great cause, the sulky match race of the summer. Pratt representing Faith House of Saratoga, Beckwith representing Franklin Community Center. Maggie, I doubt it's ever been done, a jockey winning a Grade 1 race in the day and then driving a winner standard bred at night. That's what's in front of Flavien Prat.
It's amazing. I love it. And I love the fact that he grew up riding/driving standardbreds in his native France, and just shows how talented of a horseman that he is. But taking a look at the horse he's riding here, Georgie Spirit, as she'll get Lasix for the first time. And I don't love the fact that she came back to the races for a 3-year-old bout in April, and we haven't seen her now since then. But I do think the Lasix is meaningful for a filly that in the past has gotten washy and really too revved up. It'll kind of take the edge off of one, and she's calm and cool as a cucumber today, whereas when she came back for that Aqueduct race, that she was washed out. She settled a bit once she got out in track, but two, I think that the move to Flavien Prat is meaningful here as well, and she just looks fit, ready, and just better than she did back in April. But my number one, My Sweet Affair, kind of the opposite is true. She's coming off very short rests. We just saw her last Saturday. Now, what happened? Is she one that needs Lasix? Did she not like the good turf? Well, she's getting the good turf again, but she is getting Lasix. And she's a lot more settled today than what she was going back to last Saturday. I don't know if I love this move, but I have a feeling it might come back to bite me. Lafitte?
At 3-1, George Weaver. Sacred Wish later in the Alabama, just missed in the Grade 1 Coaching Club, American Oaks. Sarah, final thoughts as they have reached the starting gate?
Oh, look, this is a wide open race, and you can make a case for a lot of horses in a spot like this. I love Richie's point about how it looks like there's speed on paper. Maybe. It doesn't always play out that way. We frequently see it not in real time. But they're sprinting on the turf. Somebody's got to go, and it's likely to be a couple somebodies.
Turf sprint, quickest of the quick. Fastest of the fast.
Absolutely, and you want to come out running under any circumstances and get your position going forward. If you get out-footed, you get out-footed, but don't just hand horses a lead and let the race shape around you. I don't like when riders are victimized. If you make a mistake, make an aggressive mistake.
Jose Ortiz, Violet Gibson steps forward, numero 6. Tyler Gaffleon looking for a second win this afternoon. It is post time for the third, live from Saratoga on Fox Sports 2. Frank Mirmati standing by.
Miss Domina will be the last one to load. She breaks from the outside post. They're in the gate. And they're off. A very even start. My Sweet Affair is very quick, but it's Shoot Out the Lights, who's very fast and takes over, clearing off to lead it by almost 2 lengths. Numero 6 is in the firing line, taking the second spot. They're followed by You Gotta Have Fun, 4th in the early going and 3 lengths off the lead. Miss Demita is widest of all. Georgie Spirit is down on the rail, about 6 lengths off the lead as they move around the far turn. The opening quarter went in 22 1/5 seconds. And the lead still belongs to Shoot Out the Lights, who's 3/4 of a length in front toward the back of the field, or Don't Look Back at All. And the trailer is Violet Gibson. They are at the top of the stretch, coming toward the 8th pole. Shoot Out the Lights has been in control every step of the way. Lets it out a notch, has it by a length and a half. Don't Look Back at All is starting to bear down in the center of the course. Shoot Out the Lights, Don't Look Back at All into second. My Sweet Affair is in third. Shoot Out the Lights holding firm. It will be Shoot Out the Lights. Back to back for Irad Ortiz Jr. Don't Look Back at All was second. My Sweet Affair third. And Violet Gibson rallied belatedly for 4th.
Didn't cough this one up late. Shoot Out the Lights, just too fast to catch. Back-to-back wins for Saratoga's leading rider, Irad Ortiz.
Sprung out of the gate under Irad Ortiz, got very comfortable on the lead, and Irad was hanging on to her into the stretch. Very rare, Sarah, to see a horse turn for home, still with the rider up in the saddle, sitting back on it before finally setting them down in a turf sprint. That speaks volumes to her natural speed.
It does, but at the same time, I will say that we talked about how it seemed like there was some speed on paper and how that doesn't always play out that way. Irad found himself very comfortable on a horse that he knew had that early foot without having to ask her for too much extra, and that, I feel as though, made the difference in the late stages, able to have something in reserve to hold off a horse that was charging pretty hard at the end.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and pretty pedestrian fractions for a turf sprint. Look at the demeanor of this filly, though. If I'm a horse and I'm running up alongside her, I'm going to think twice about getting up next to her. Look at her ears pinned, digging in, head, flat out. I mean, she just looked like she ran mean.
That's Larry Zonka, John Riggins-esque there in the final stages.
Run through a brick wall for you.
If you're a horse, that's what you'd look like?
Yeah, I think when I was riding, I probably looked like pinning my ears a
Turf
lot.
sprinter?
I'll show you one of my favorite Richie while he was riding pictures coming out of the jocks room. This look on his face like, get out of my way. So yes, that is a great call.
Love it.
You know what I'm
It's a
talking
bad rap.
about.
It's a bad rap.
Shoot out the lights by City of Light, a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, a Pegasus World Cup winner, and this is something we touched on at the top of the show. Arad Ortiz riding in 10 of 11 races. He wins them in bunches. That's two for two.
Well, one thing about Irad Ortiz, who just got his 40th win of the meet.
40.
He never takes a race off.
No, he'll ride every type of race with the same grit, determination, and will to win. Whether it's a stakes race, a grade 1, or a 12-5 claiming type of race, he's going to bring you his best shot to be successful.
First grade 1 win was in the coaching club American Oaks with Questing 10, 11 years ago. Of the 5 Godolphin Coaching Club American Oak winners, she's the only one to come back and win the Alabama with Arad Ortiz. He'll try for a third with a Gambling Girl, and it looks like the table should be set. Much more pace in the Alabama on paper than the CCA Oaks.
More pace. She's has a race under her belt now, so shake off any ring rust. I think the race sets up much better for her today, and I do think the 1.25 miles suits her.
I agree with all of those sentiments that you bring to the table. We're going to have a little bit more pace in there. She should be able to get the distance. She's an extremely deserving type of favorite.
Coverage begins at 3 o'clock in about 40 minutes on Fox. The 2023 Alabama Championship implications, 3-year-old fillies. But yeah, Rad's going to be busy between now and then. Riding winners, 40 on the meet, 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Shoot out the lights does just that in the third at the Spa.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Poppy Flowers putting in a late burst here. They come for the finish.
Here is Nagarok, who takes off. Nagarok will roll. Nagarok.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Introducing the Caesars Racebook app, the ultimate destination for racing enthusiasts. Built on the trusted Naira Bets platform, you can watch and wager on over 300 racetracks worldwide, including Saratoga. And the best part? Every bet earns you exciting reward credits that can be redeemed for your next bet, hotel stays, dining, and more. Get started today and receive up to $200 matched on your first deposit. Download the Caesars Racebook app and embrace the thrill of horse racing.
Welcome back to Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. As always, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Want to visit us next summer? ABR Naira Bets My Racehorse has a contest you want to enter. Elevate your summer with a trip to idyllic Saratoga Springs. Details: 1 grand prize winner plus a guest, VIP hospitality, $1,000 wagering voucher. Thank you, Naira Bets. $1,000 spending spree. Thank you, My Racehorse. A travel covered, backstretch tour, much, much more. You scan that code, the QR code on the screen, to enter now. A great opportunity to whomever is lucky enough to win the contest. And we'll see you next summer. And you'll see Arad Ortiz a lot in the winner's circle at Saratoga. 2 for 2 thus far. Shoot out the lights, makes the lead, and again, does not cough this one up. Holding off, don't look back at all, and My Sweet Affair. Shoot out the lights in the third. We check in with Maggie in the winner's circle.
That's right, Lafitte. And Shoot Out the Lights, Irad, you were aboard her last time and tried to kind of nurse the speed out, considering it was the 6th. Today, you took no prisoners.
She broke so good today. Last time she missed the break a little bit, but she run good. She learned, I think, from last time. She sit second, she rate. She relaxed, switch off, and finished good. She just got cut in last couple jumps last time at Belmont, so I thought I was not in a hurry with her, but she broke on top. I sit and wait. I wait and return her for home. I let her do her thing, and she got the job done.
2 back, she was really kind of revved up in the Churchill paddock, and today she was so much more calm. I know you want speed horses to be a little on their toes, but sometimes they got to learn to harness it.
I think I learned from the filly. That day I asked her a little bit to be on the pace and to be involved. Looked like she got some speed. She won the first time at Gulfstream, going to the lead, fast pace, and after that race, I think I learned from her, and just keep it quiet, keep it with the pony, and look how she runs. We learn sometimes from the horses, and that's what she wants to do.
Well done you, as I'm sure one that you have learned a lot about is Gambling Girl. You'll be aboard in the Alabama. A bit of an overachiever, Irad, a New York bred. Talk about her coming back in the CC Oaks last time, off a bit of a layoff, and today looks like there's guaranteed more pace. Does that help her?
That's the key. I think the key for her is strong pace in front of her. Last time was not too much speed. She was a little too close, I think. She never give up. She run a good race, come from the layoff. I'm hoping a stronger pace today and try to be ability to get there on time today on the big race. So.
Well, I'm wishing you the best of luck later, and congrats here too, already on the card.
Thank God, thank you.
All right, Arad Ortiz kicking off a big day already, Lafitte.
Yeah, Maggie, a mount in the 4th scratch, so somebody else has a chance to win. Arad Ortiz, when Shoot Out the Lights broke and Arad kind of looks around, how surprised do you think he was to see, I'm by myself up here?
I think he was pleasantly surprised, because it did look like there was more speed signed on, but she broke very sharp. He was able to put his hands down and allowed her to do it naturally with no pressure.
And he didn't hustle her either. She naturally broke that quickly, and when nobody else was around to make it a competitive pace, it worked out for him.
That kid will never forget this day, Richie. He's signing autographs, taking pictures, giving him his goggles. How cool. He gets to go home today with Arad Ortiz's goggles.
He just made some new fans right there. You give a kid a pair of goggles and something that they could take home and remember, you've made their day. It's so important for these riders, and most of them do a great job of it, of engaging and interacting with the young fans, and that's the lifeblood. That's our future, the young fans.
Yeah, that's how fans are made.
Absolutely.
Sarah.
That's how you bring those repeat customers, how you bring that repeat fan back to the track, because they have this special moment where they feel like they're a part of this, and he's out there creating that.
With the leading rider who's already won 2 Grade 1s this meet, seeking a 3rd with Gambling Girl. Later on this afternoon in the Alabama, presented by Keeneland Sales. And just 40 on the meet. He wins them in bunches, and like I said, somebody else has a chance here, Richie, because he's not riding in the 4th race. No More Talk is out. Quickly, Sarah, $16,000 claimer. What'd you come up with in this one?
Well, I'm hoping that there's actually some speed materializing in this race. I like a horse that I think will be coming from off the pace, and the number 2, Handsome Cat.
4th race in about 17 minutes. When we come back, the Alabama later today, presented by Keeneland Sales. And here, live on set, we'll be joined by Shannon Arvin, the president, CEO of Keeneland Racing and Sales. That's next on Saratoga Live.
This is the horse.
Is just too good.
This is the horse who became only the second champion 2-year-old to win the Travers in 3 decades. This is the horse who is the only Breeders' Cup juvenile hero ever to lift the Belmont Stakes. History-making brilliance. That's his essential quality. Essential quality. This is the horse.
Maximum Security proves he's the real deal with a gate-to-wire win in the Florida Derby.
Champion 3-year-old.
Maximum Security has won the TVG.com Haskell Invitational.
11 triple-digit buyers.
Maximum Security, he smoked them in the Cigar Mile.
Grade 1 winning 4-year-old.
Maximum Security takes them all the way in the TVG Pacific Classic.
Maximum Security.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Big crowd on hand. Alabama Day. Alabama presented by Keeneland Sales. We are now joined by a very special guest, President, CEO of Keeneland Racing and Sales, Shannon Arvin, joining us on the set. Shannon, thanks so much for taking the time. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me here. I'm delighted to be in Saratoga.
We tried to do this a couple of years ago, but that was during the pandemic, so it was done over the phone. So it's great to have you here in person on set. You're only here for a few days, but as soon as Saratoga is over, the racing here for you at Keeneland, like a very busy time just around the corner.
We have been very hectic this summer getting ready for a really big fall. You know, last September was a great September yearling sale. We surpassed our record with over 400 million gross in sales. So the market has been really strong. And, you know, one of the best parts of it is seeing the sellers really happy and the buyers too, because the buyers have really bought quality stock that have gone on to perform very well for them across the world.
That kind of sale, how much can you lend perspective to the preparation that goes in?
It's a massive amount of preparation. You know, Tony Lacey is our VP of Sales, and Cormac Brannock, our Director of Sales Operation, and they and our whole sales team work starting in the spring. They start inspections officially, and they will have seen about 3,000 yearlings on the farms. And then there's the trick of fitting them all into the catalog order in the best way to present the best horses that we can in front of our buyers.
And how many horses will be cataloged for this September sale?
Over 4,200.
Wow.
4,200.
Yes, sir.
I don't think most realize how much, it's like it magically happens. It all comes together. How much goes into the preparation?
It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, making sure that all the barns work and people are happy where they are, and then making sure that it's fun. I mean, that's such a huge part of this industry. People are in this industry to have fun. So we spend a lot of time brainstorming and think about ways that we can keep that excitement and energy going all through the 11-day sale.
So what's it like to step back, for example? Well, we watched the champion win earlier this meet in the Grade 1, Vanderbilt in Elite Power, last fall's Breeders' Cup Sprint winner. The level of pride for a horse that was sold at one of the sales, one at Keeneland, and to watch them succeed at the very, very highest level.
Oh, it's everything. I mean, it's why we do what we do. I mean, the sales are so important to us, but the sales don't matter unless you have that quality racing and unless you have fans and people that want to be engaged in this tremendous sport. So we're always proud of our Keeneland sales graduates, and we follow them all the way through.
What's more exciting, selling a young horse, a yearling that goes on to do great things, or getting some of these broodmares that have had these incredible careers and, you know, having them come through the ring?
It's all fun. I mean, it's kind of nice the way the fall shapes up. It's a tremendously busy time, but we go from the September yearling sale to our fall race meet to the November breeding stock sale, and it's very different. You know, I mean, in September, you're looking for your next champion, your next star. It's kind of like the NFL draft. And then in November, you have some more bloodstock that really have performed so well. So like last year, we sold Midnight Bisou for $5.5 million, which is tremendous. And then we were able to sell the 2.5% interest in Flightline for $4.6 million, which was really fun. And, you know, the buyer was somebody fairly new to the business for us. So it really was exciting.
It's such an interesting dynamic. You've seen horses win on a Breeders' Cup stage, like a Stephanie's Kitten comes to mind, like winning that race, a Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf, and then to understand, yeah, as proud as the owners are, as proud as the connections are, yeah, she was going to be sold and was sold just a couple days later at the Keeneland November
That's right.
sale.
It's really fun to be a part of.
That kind of talent that can be acquired, and as she mentioned, like an NFL draft in the September sale, Casa Creed sold at Keeneland.
Yes.
What was that like watching him essentially make history, become just the 4th horse ever to win the 4-star Dave twice?
Just tremendous. I mean, watching Casa Creed, watching Forte, watching Mage. I mean, we are, I think, in a season of seeing our graduates just do tremendous things across the world. And we work really hard at Keeneland on our domestic buying bench, of course, but we also spend a lot of resources and a lot of energy traveling internationally so that when those horses are brought to market, we've got the broadest bench that we can of buyers. So our folks spend a lot of time in Japan. We go to Turkey. We go to South America. We've had buyers over the years from 52 different countries. Wow. And that doesn't just happen because we put the shingle out and say we're selling. You know, that's a lot of work and relationship building by our team, which is, they do a fantastic job. In terms of acquiring bloodstock, what trends have you noticed? Like, what's the market like right now? You know, it feels very good. When I first got to Keeneland, everybody had always said, well, the market follows the stock market. And I said, you know, let's look at that, because I'm not sure that that's actually true, and everybody says that. And we pulled the research, and it really doesn't. I mean, I think the truth is people that are in this business are passionate about this business, and they're probably not often borrowing money for their purchases. So the market feels very strong. It feels very healthy. If we had a day that wasn't as exciting as we wanted it to be, we wouldn't panic. I mean, it's really just a long play, but I expect it to be very, very strong. We've had a lot of interest. Credit applications already with Keeneland, so I expect it to be very strong. Shannon, this is great. Thanks so much for stopping by, and enjoy your rest of your stay in Saratoga. Thank you all very much for having me. Shannon Arvin, everyone. The Alabama Today, presented by Keeneland Sales. Later this afternoon, coverage beginning at 3 Eastern on Fox. George Weaver so close to winning that CCA Oaks. Well represented. Sacred Wish in the Alabama. It's an incredible story. Stay tuned. You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2.
To win it. And here is domestic spending. And Pearl with plenty left in the tank.
Program trading. Ocean Road.
It will be McCulloch. Victoria Road down to the line. Will be State of Rest.
Welcome back to Saratoga Live. As always, brought to you in part by Hale & Dale out of Lapa. We have to move because riders are up for the 4th. We welcome Acacia Clement to the broadcast, standing by with this $16,000 claiming race for Paddock Report. Acacia.
And Lafitte, though it is a claiming race, it's an intriguing race. This will start things off with Ensign Parker, who was kind of the tepid favorite moving to the right handle barn. This is a horse that he has a sway back. He has a little bit of a dip in his back. That's always how he's been. It certainly doesn't affect a horse when racing, though sometimes they have to be a little bit creative with certain types of padding. But overall, he looks very strong. He's well muscled behind. In the past, he's been pretty naughty in the paddock, and while he was sharp and on his toes, he kept things under wraps today, which I really do appreciate, coming in off of a big win on a wet track last time out. We'll see if he can make it 2 in a row, but he's been in good form going back to Ray's barn. The 2 Handsome Cat is off a bit of a layoff and takes a big drop in class. Now, he just has been disappointing recently, but running against so much tougher. Jake Rocks, who won the last race, came back to win again with an 83 Beyer speed figure. Now, Handsome Cat looks very well muscled. He looks strong off the layoff. He was accompanied by the pony here in the paddock, but I've noticed that David Jacobson has been doing that with, I would say, most of his runners, just to keep them settled in a paddock where there's a lot going on with all the fans around, and he's done nothing wrong. A new face returning to the NYRA circuit is the 6 in Sky We Trust. I thought he ran a pretty good race last time. His biggest problem, though, is getting out of the gate. Off slow last time. It was a little bit high-headed trying to run on late, but came down to the rail, and I thought finished up pretty well. He stacks up favorably with his competition coming in from Parks. Really strong, well-muscled individual. The big thing, though, for Kendrick Carmouche, who's a strong gate rider, Lafitte, is going to get him to break well and quicker than he has recently.
9-2 Acacia in Sky We Trust. Kendrick Carmouche took down the nightcap yesterday. See what he does here in the 4th. Post-parade, Ensign Parker won with Dylan Davis in the slop opening weekend.
Yeah, speed and has the rail, so Dylan needs to use this horse to make sure he uses that speed to his advantage.
California bred Handsome Cat, David Jacobson, his barn is going well.
It is now, and that's definitely something to pay attention to. He's also taking a significant drop in class.
Streaky Flamingo Hawk number 3, just kind of one geared of late.
Yeah, claimed for 32,000, 2 starts back, drops to 16.5. Will the class relief be the key?
Ragtime Blues, Luis Saez takes over.
Another one taking a slight drop in class, went down to 20 last time. I thought he was interesting, thought he wanted no part of 7 furlongs last 2 times.
Acacia says look out in Sky We Trust.
Second as the favorite last time out over at Parks, where Scott Lake has a lot of his runners, but certainly could be competitive here.
Poppy's Pride flashing more speed in his last pair. Number 8, Quick Flash, and Jackie Davis has been riding. Katie takes over today.
Who has been riding extremely well so far this meet. This is a horse that used to have some good early speed and some better form.
Air Show, apprentice Jamie Torres won a race yesterday.
Yeah, no speed since this horse came from off the bench, off a layoff from April, but before that was showing really good speed and was running well.
And great workout. Off the board, 4 tries this year.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, Richard.
Well, I just think this horse is going to have to change the current form vastly.
I would agree.
Both have a lot to say about this 33-1 shot on the outside. That's the field for the 4th race. 2 minutes out, Saratoga. Ensign Parker, there he is with Dylan Davis. Let's revisit his latest opening week in the slop. Sarah, Ensign Parker seizes the lead, and he is gone.
And knowing that this is the type of horse that has that early speed makes a post position draw like the rail slightly less of a concern, because you know what he's going to do early on. He's going to go. That inside position really simplifies what his choices are. And this was a decent effort by him, but I think that this field is shaping up to be tougher than what he was facing last time out. Would you agree, Richie?
I agree. It's a much tougher field. And last time he was drawn 5 of 7. Now he's on the rail. And it gave Dylan the luxury of allowing him the first 1/8 of a mile to get into the race the right way. He does not have that luxury today. He's got to go forward from the break.
Tougher assignment. He is the 3-1 tepid choice. And Sarah, you have a pick 5 with a mandatory payout today. Let's see the approach. Let's see the ticket and the strategy.
Look, trying to beat a lot of favorites in this sequence, because I think some of them are vulnerable with the shorter prices, but I'm going to single to start things off.
Nice.
If you got a little bit more of a bankroll you want to play with, I throw in Ragtime Blues as well, but I think Handsome Cat is the one you want in a race with speed on paper. 3 deep, trying to beat the entry in the next leg with 3 other logical types. in the 6th race, I just think those are the two horses in an off-the-turf race that have the most dirt form. I'm spreading out a little bit in that Lake Placid. I think that's a very deep competitive field, and I also feel like the board will be reflecting that. I think you'll get a fair enough price on whoever you go with in there. And then to close it out, I think horses like Gerrymander and Nostalgic, while they're obviously very talented, they'll both be short prices, and they seem a little random in the kind of performances that they bring to the table. So I'm trying to beat both of them with a little bit of a spread elsewhere.
Could be the best $60 you ever spent. Good luck, Sarah. And everyone playing this Pick 5 mandatory payout, singling right from the start. I like it. Handsome Cat, Acacia. And then Poppy's Pride. There he is. Jose Lezcano aboard. Just the last couple of races, just more early gas leaving the gate.
That's right, Lafitte, and I think that he adds an interesting layer to this race because of that early speed, and Jose Lezcano's been riding so well right now. Now, Poppy's Pride is not exactly the most trustworthy individual as far as being able to seal the deal, but I don't think any of them in this race really are. He's, I don't think necessarily a win candidate, but a horse that's been taking quite a bit of attention, was even a shorter price in the 5-1 now, and I think that's in large part because he's always right there. Since he moved to the Gustavo Rodriguez barn, they've kind of brought back that really quick early speed that we saw from him. He was right up last time out, dueling second best in that effort. And while he's had a relatively quiet warm-up out on the track, he used to be a lot sharper as well. I just think it's a little bit of a mental maturity as horses start to get older. They kind of figure things out, like, I don't really have to do too much before the race even begins. But when we talk about a good hind leg and horses well muscle behind the saddle, I think that shot right there is a perfect illustration of what you're looking for, particularly with dirt sprinters. Look at the rounded hind end that you see on Poppy's Pride, the way that he has that strong hind leg, the muscle behind, horses push off from their hind leg. And so he looks great coming in here. See if he can retain some of that speed in the later stages.
Something to watch right from the start. Jose Lezcano, pedal to the metal. Poppy's Pride. Sarah, this is such a competitive race. I wouldn't think in a Pick 5 sequence this would be the spot to single. Again, a Handsome Cat, right from the very start, you're single in this Pick 5 sequence.
I think if you want to go deeper in this race, you have to sort through a lot of horses and wonder who is going to be the speed of the speed, who's going to be able to shrug off the other types of speed horses. There's a lot of more untrustworthy types, and while I don't necessarily trust him, I'm not in love with a horse like this, I think that he benefits the most from how I believe this race will set up, at least on paper. I also like that the barn's been heating up. He's taking a significant drop in class as well. You go back, I mean, King Angelo, Seas Get Degrees, Today's Flavor, those are better horses all around than what he's going to be running against in a spot like this.
Go get him. There he is, Handsome Cat. Pick 5 mandatory payout. Good luck to everyone playing this Pick 5. Final thought here, Richie.
No, I like Cyrus Pick and Handsome Cat. I went with the 5 Ragtime Blues. Out of his 8 career starts, 7 wins, 7 of them came at the 6 furlong distance.
Knows this 3/4 sprint distance well. Lots of success. We hand things over to Frank Mirmati with the call. Race 4 live on Fox Sports 2, all leading up to the Alabama this evening.
Ragtime Blues is loaded. So is Air Show, and here's great workout completing the lineup. Going in. They're in the gate. They're off. Poppy's Pride in the center of the track is up for the lead. Ragtime Blues is up close. Quick Flash comes away in 3rd, followed by Air Show Yellow Colors 4th. Ensign Parker at the rail in 5th. Handsome Cat right next to him, 5 lengths off the leader. It's another length too on the outside in Sky We Trust, followed by Flamingo Hawk, and the distant trailer is Great Workout. They string out through a quarter in 22 and 2/5 seconds, and it's Poppy's Pride leading the way, has it by a half length. Air Show on the outside, Quick Flash in between them. 4 more to Ragtime Blues. Handsome Cat is just outside of him, has 6 lengths to make up. Another couple back to In Sky We Trust and Ensign Parker. They're at the top of the stretch, 45 and 2 for the half. There's still 3 across the track. Poppy's Pride along the inside. Quick Flash in between, and Air Show. Handsome Cat is now starting to gather some serious momentum in the center of the track with the white blinkers. A 16th to go. Poppy's Pride a length. On the outside, Quick Flash and Handsome Cat. It's going to be Poppy's Pride. all the way. Handsome Cat was second. Quick Flash third. Then Flamingo Hawk over Airshow for fourth.
That speed he's been flashing in the early stages of his recent races. Poppy's Pride, Jose Lezcano, 6-1, Sarah, holding off the late charge of Handsome Cat, your single, who did just keep plugging away, plugging away, plugging away.
Oh, I got everything I wanted out of a horse that even Omar Hernandez Moreno, he had his hands full early, because this is a horse that was a little bit keen to, wanted to go, then was going a little bit wide around that turn. I got everything I wanted out of him, but Poppy's Pride ended up being that speed of the speed. And Ensign Parker didn't challenge him early on like we might have thought, but he had a host of pursuers going after him, able to shrug them all off and hold off the late closing Handsome Cat.
It shows you speed's always dangerous. You get a horse in good form, and he busts out of the gate on top. And Jose Lezcano, he may not get the same kind of mounts that some of the other riders get. This guy just does nothing but deliver. He puts horses in the right position. He rides a smart race. I'll never understand why his name isn't held in as high esteem as some of his contemporaries.
Also, it's almost counterintuitive, because it feels like the whole racing world knows he's the most underrated rider like in North America. But if everybody feels that way, is he really underrated? Underrated turf rider, but you're right, he never seems to get the notoriety.
And he gets opportunities to fill in, like on Warlike Goddess and horses like this, right?
Who I think he did a great job with, by the way.
I think he fit her better than anybody. He had her in good position. She was settled, and she finished for him. But Elite Power he rode, I mean, and subbed beautifully on that. You can go back to Wise Dan, him picking up the mount in the Breeders' Cup and delivering. I just would love to see a point where Jose Lezcano isn't just filling in, where he's getting a steady supply of those kind of mounts. He deserves them.
He might have a short vacation coming up before long, though. He did get disqualified after winning the stake a few days ago.
Yes. Yeah.
And that one, we agreed with that call. Yes?
Well, oh, yes, but that should be the call always.
All the time.
Yeah, the consistency
I
you wanna
agree
see.
with both of those.
Before we go too far off on a tangent, don't forget the Alabama coverage beginning on Fox at 3 Eastern, America's Best Racing's Race of the Week. What else? So much history and tradition. The Alabama, presented by Keeneland Sales. Mile and a quarter, $600,000 purse. Richie, in the key race is that of which the favorite exits. Number 2, Wet Paint. Chasing the leaders here. Sacred Wish in front. Gambling Girl dull on that afternoon, but Wet Paint just kept grinding and grinding her way to a Grade 1 win.
Yeah, and she saved ground early on before tipping out to the clear, and then she really found her stride and came with this relentless run that she has. She's very good, and I think she gets more pace, which is going to help her as well. I went in a different direction. She's going to be tough to beat.
Does she remind you at all of Essential Quality a little bit in that they do just enough to win?
It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah, now that you say that, absolutely. I don't think the margins of victory are really telling the whole story.
I would agree.
It's not brilliant with her. It's just dogged determination in Wet Paint, defeated favorite in the Kentucky Oaks, the winner of that CCA Oaks. Do you think, Richie, should she win today? It's another Godolphin filly and pretty mischievous in terms of the chase for a 3-year-old filly title. What does a win for Wet Paint mean?
I think it puts her on top of the 3-year-old filly division. You know, obviously Pretty Mischievous won the Oaks, Kentucky Oaks, the Acorn, came back with a victory in the test, albeit she was second best there. But I think if she wins the Coaching Club in the American Oaks Wet Paint, it kind of leapfrogs her over her stablemate.
Godolphins won the CCA Oaks 5 times. Only one of those fillies has come back to win the Alabama Questing, trying for a second to complete that sweep. Then Wet Paint's about that time as we say goodbye. Selections for the Alabama in the end, Richie. Who winds up in the Alabama winner's circle?
I'm going with Julia Shining off of the bench. She got Todd Pletcher as a conditioner. I'm not as worried about the layoff, and I do believe she wants every bit of a mile and a quarter. And what I've seen from her in her morning training, she looks like she's matured mentally to me. I think she's going to run a big race today.
Big sister won the Alabama. Malathot, Julia Shining trying to do the same. Sarah, your selection. Who wins the Alabama?
I'm sticking with Gambling Girl after that Coaching Club American Oaks. I think that was just not her race type of setup. I think that she'll be okay getting a little bit more ground, getting a hotter pace to work with, and having that race under her belt going forwards.
Acacia, the Alabama, who takes down Saratoga's most prestigious race for 3-year-old fillies.
Well, Sarah and I are on the same wavelength here. I'm also sticking with Gambling Girl. I feel that if I liked her last time, I have to give her another shot today. I know that Wet Paint closed to win the CCA Oaks, but Gambling Girl was a horse that was coming off of a layoff and did not get a setup. She tried to be a little bit closer last time than she typically likes to be. She's going to have an honest pace today, Lafitte, and I think that horses like Randomized don't necessarily want the distance, whereas Gambling Girl, I think, does.
So 2 votes here for Gambling Girl. The table should be set. The Rabbit, the pace should be heated up. The presence of Chocolate Gelato, a Grade 1 winner who graduated here last summer, for her, both owned by Mike Rapoli, the pace is going to be faster than it was in the CCA Oaks.
I can't imagine it won't be. And then we're also going 1/8 of a mile further, and I think we're going to have more than legitimate pace. But I think it helps other closers in the race, too. Yeah, the idea might be to help Gambling Girl, but it also helps Wet Paint.
Yeah, none of these fillies have ever raced at 1.25 miles. They probably won't ever race at 1.25 miles again, Sarah, but it feels like just watching Wet Paint in that style. She's not explosive, like a 1/4 mile kick and the tank's empty. Feels like she can run all day. It looks like the 10 furlongs won't be a problem.
No, I don't think she'll have any issue getting this little bit extra distance as well. And the great thing about her is that she doesn't necessarily need the pace set up to run her race. You have to wonder that if she gets it, maybe she runs an even better race than we've seen from her before.
Alabama on Fox coverage begins in about 4 minutes. Just enough time to clean up this 4th race. And Jose Lescano for Gustavo Rodriguez, his 5-year-old gelding Poppy's Pride in a 5th lifetime win, turning back all challengers. 15-20 to kick off the pick 5 sequence.
Yeah, a nice price there on a horse that had speed. Didn't see him getting as loose and as easy a lead as he did, but he broke very sharply. Handsome Cat ran on. How about Quick Flash at 32 on Katie Davis?
Yeah.
Hitting the board on a big long shot.
I was pulling for you.
Thank
I was
you.
pulling for you in Handsome Cat.
I got everything I could have asked for out of a ride like that. He also got the weight break. He was keen early. What are you going to do?
Moral victory. Go back to the drawing board, try it again. We'll look forward to seeing you, the 3 of us, later this evening, but the coverage beginning on Fox at 3 Eastern for the Grade 1 Alabama. Wet Paint, there she is. Fox Saratoga Saturday continues. The favorite is Wet Paint for Godolphin. Trainer Brad Cox looking for a first ever win in the Alabama. It is Saratoga's biggest race for 3-year-old fillies championship implications. Trainer Todd Pletcher represented by a trio looking for 3 straight Alabama wins and 5 overall. Head on over to Fox Saratoga Saturday in 3 minutes with the Alabama from Saratoga.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
None above the law to win. Spenderella could